Phoebe, this isn't the first time that you've worked with Lee and been directed by him, sorry. Please can you tell us about, what happened last time and what's been different this time?
Well, last time I was just sort of standing in for someone, so it was only for like one day. So I can't really remember much of it, but it was just like standing in. So this time's been good. It's not been that much different. Obviously, it's different because I'm in a film. This is a film, and it's a lot different to a play. Like so much different. So yeah, that's the only difference really.
So can you describe like the main differences in the whole process between, the theatre and the film?
Process. Well, you don't in the film. Obviously, you go through it like so many different times in different angles, and you don't do that in plays. And you go through it like line by line, so it's quite hard to get like the emotion because you're just like going through it like line by line. It's not no like build up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the main difference, I think.
Can you tell us about the story arc of the caller?
Basically, she's confident at the beginning. She's fine. She's going to call her ex-best friend to say that she's fine. She doesn't mind that her ex-best friend has gone away with her ex-boyfriend. And she was completely distraught, and she's just calling to say, it's fine, I'm over it. And as she calls the operator and it's sort of building up, her emotions just like build up and up and up, and she gets more like welling up, like voice starts trembling, she starts like breathing more heavily, and then at the end she just obviously just breaks down into tears.
Okay, and what do you think what helped you to get into your character? Did you use any techniques, or what did you use about your physical movements and things?
I started to sort of like lose my breath a bit, sort of like that's what I do when I cry, sort of like start to do that, like tremble, and sort of just think about like sad things, like to like get me in that sad mood.
Lee, apparently you visualised Phoebe in the role that when you wrote the script. So what is it about her that made you want to cast her, and does she live up to your expectations?
Well, I'd wanted to cast Phoebe in something for a while, and it was about finding something that I felt she could do and that I could write for her. And the script that I'd written based on the song, I felt would be a great piece for her because I'd seen her do a really good performance in a version of the Jungle Book, and I've seen her in other productions, but I hadn't seen that same level of performance, and so I wanted to create a role so that she could actually
give her the opportunity to show herself.
She's. I have no expectations. I just have high hopes, and I think she's more than lived up to them too.
Lee, obviously you're playing the operator. How do you see yourself in the part of the operator?
Well, the operator just serves a function really. He's just there to service her story. This isn't his story. He doesn't have a big character arc or anything like that. He's there to do his job, and that's it. The operator is just a function. That's it. I mean, the same as if a caller was to phone any operator. They don't phone an operator to bond with them.
Yeah.
They phone to get a phone number. That's all they need, and that's all he gives to her.
Okay, so obviously you see the operator as somebody who's just almost there. But Phoebe, what do you think about the relationship between the caller and the operator?
Well, obviously the operator is kind of like quite a big person in the sort of step to this change in her life to say that it's fine. So for her, I think it's a lot more kind of, or maybe she's just sort of expecting him to just give her the number. That's it. But he does kind of like go into sort of like talking to her and like having a proper conversation. So I think she's maybe a bit surprised.
So maybe it gets to be more than it initially was when you made the call.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. What do you want the audience to take away from Not the Way It Feels, firstly, and then we'll come to Phoebe?
I hope that they're moved by it. I mean, it's great for people if people just want to see an interesting performance. But I'd like to think that maybe people can identify with the caller in regards to, things aren't always perfect. You're not always as strong as you kind of like want everyone to see.
Yeah.
And you're kind of a lot more vulnerable than you like to show people. And maybe in this story, by showing that it's okay for this character to be in the story, maybe anyone watching it will think, well, maybe it's okay for me to be vulnerable when I am.
Yeah. Phoebe, what do you hope and expect the audience to take away from it?
I think obviously to be really moved by it, and maybe for them to relate to the caller, possibly, because I think like everyone's had that sort of moment where you want to call someone but you don't, and then
Not exactly the same story, but
Yeah.
maybe a similar situation they can relate to. Now, Lee, you apparently wrote the script a few years ago. What made you choose to do it now?
Well, I planned to put it on stage, but just life really, just other acting roles coming up, not really having the time or feeling. Maybe it's my own self-motivation in regards to actually getting the story done, but then also thinking that I kind of wanted Phoebe in the role, and I wanted Phoebe in the role in how I remembered her, and getting beyond 2 years, people grow up, people change, and although I stayed in contact with Phoebe, I kind of I only remembered of her of 2 years ago, and so the longer it takes to put it on, the wider gap there is between how much you might change. So I wanted to do it as soon as possible.
So, having heard this, Phoebe, what do you feel about having a script effectively written around you?
Yeah, it's quite flattering. I was like, oh, thanks. But yeah, it's really good. I'm really flattered by it, and it's a really good opportunity for me because obviously I've never done film before at all, and it's quite a sort of easing my way in, just a little 5-minute short film. It's it's really good. I was really pleased.
Now, when I first read this script, I imagined the whole film to be based on the caller, and then you would just be able to hear the voice of the operator. But what image did you have? Did you originally think about that possibility, or did you always picture the operator as well?
I always pictured the operator because the song that it's based on it's called Operator. That's not the way it feels. It's not called Not the Way It Feels. So I think my angle on it as a writer is that I've chosen to make it more on the caller. And I've not ignored it, but I've made the operator part secondary. And focusing on the Not the Way It Feels part, because of my sensibilities as a writer and director. But the operator was always there, so I didn't want to cut the operator out entirely.
Okay, that's fantastic. Phoebe, did you have any final thoughts on Not the Way It Feels?
Not really. Just this I think it's a really good idea, basing it on a song. I think that's really good because I love music, so it's really nice. I think it really changed my emotions, and I just really liked it based on a song that the song's going to be playing. I just really, really like that idea, and it's really good.
But you, Lee, any final thoughts?
Just as usual, just grateful to everyone for being involved, and actually kind of just everyone, because this just a few months ago when I thought about, should I get some people together to do this? It was just something on a page. But now, day by day, doing all the work that we've done, it's actually real, and I hope people enjoy it.
No, that's not the way it feels.